Much for watching. This has been Total Live. I've been Wheels for the last time. This has been my dad Tom.
Yeah.
And
I'll see you next week.
yeah. And Arch Warhammer is a dickhead. Goodbye.
That was a comment on my friend Arch Warhammer and his YouTube channel and commentaries from the community manager of Creative Assembly on his last day, doing the professional thing and calling Arch a dickhead. Now, I'm sure he'd say, well, hands up, you've got me. But why did he do that? What's the problem with Arch Warhammer? I mean, he's a fan of Creative Assembly properties. I've watched many of his videos where he's talking about the latest Creative Assembly product, and so you would think, well, with a huge audience that he has, they'd be thrilled about the free advertising, especially as he comes at the property as a fan of Total War. I mean, they did Warhammer Total War. Arch was already a fan of Roman Medieval and all the other Total Wars, so he seems like he'd be the perfect kind of social media influencer for Creative Assembly to get in bed with, and listen to, take advice from. I mean, he's widely considered well-learned on the subject. So why wouldn't you, instead of forming an adversarial relationship with him, talk to him? Alas, Arch is aware that he's blacklisted from Creative Assembly for some reason, because apparently they can't take criticism down to the community manager, and have decided he is the enemy of Creative Assembly, which is an interesting position for him to be in, much like the way that I imagine Jeremy from the Quartering found himself when Magic the Gathering blacklisted him because of his criticisms of the hobby that he clearly loves. I mean, for years he ran a Magic the Gathering YouTube channel, 150,000 odd subscribers, something like that. And now he does something else because they've blacklisted him from his hobby. How can he do it? Why would he promote a company that treats him this way? So I find it very, very interesting that Arch managed to get under this guy's skin, because, I mean, they'd never really given any real hint apart from the blacklisting. And it really makes you wonder why they're finding themselves impervious to criticism. Because Arch's criticisms of CA are all valid. They're not insurmountable, they're just criticisms that make sense. They are normal, sensible things that, in the context, should be something that should at least be listened to without massive resentment being generated. But apparently here we are. Arch Warhammer is a dickhead. Official statement from Creative Assembly, one would suggest. Or perhaps not, as Creative Assembly have had to apologise to Arch for this monumentally unprofessional thing for one of their community managers to have done. Now, I wonder where the next place he's going to go to as a community manager will be. Perhaps he's going onwards and upwards, but who is going to hire someone that unprofessional? Really makes you think. But this Kotaku article is absolutely lovely. It's like a fine wine. It's like a chocolate truffle. It's a rare treat that you get to enjoy once in a blue moon, because indulging in this kind of thing is probably unhealthy, but man, every now and again it just tastes so good. In his final public act as community manager for Creative Assembly, the makers of the Total War strategy game series, Michael Wheels Whelan, said this at the end of the live stream: Arch Warhammer is a dickhead. Goodbye. Arch Warhammer, a gaming YouTuber mainly focused on Warhammer lore, has been vocal in the Total War community for over the years. Most recently, he criticised Creative Assembly for seeming to remove a mod from Steam that replaced portraits with hypersexualized women. Why? It's a mod. You aren't responsible for that mod. Why do you need to do that? Why can't there be a market for that kind of thing? I mean, you know there are women who hypersexualize themselves in order to make money. Sometimes they get deplatformed from Instagram because people can't take a joke. This is not a one-way street. And there is a kind of community, certain communities that enjoy that kind of thing. It's not an official part of your game. Why not just let it slide? In the video responding to the mod's removal, he accused Creative Assembly of a conspiracy to censor fan mods that sexualize women because of supposed influence of SJWs. I can't think of any other reason. What was it, copyright infringement? I mean, what was the problem with the mod, if not for the hypersensitive, radical left-wing SJWs who sit there and go, "Muh, this is objectification, the male gaze, muh. I'm a dumpy old lady who doesn't have a husband or kids and whose cat barely turns up in the evening to get fed. Of course, I'm annoyed that there are attractive women out there sexualizing themselves, and if men are going to enjoy this, we're going to shut this down." I can't think of any other social movement that would have the influence, the punch, or the desire to censor such a thing. I mean, perhaps it was the evangelical Christians. They were, oh goodness, this is revealing. This is definitely against God's plan. Perhaps it was the Islamists who were like, sorry, that mod's not good enough. Put them in burqas, and then we'll talk. I mean, was it them, or was it the rabid feminists going, male gaze? I wonder. The reason why CA hates sexy women revealed reads the title of Arch Warhammer's 9th of July video. In it, he specifically called out one of the studio's female moderators, who had previously criticised the mod for Total War 3 Kingdoms that contained sexualised portraits of the women heroes on the game's subreddit. Was she a feminist? Or is she like Ilhan Omar with her hair wrapped up, perhaps her face covered because she's a little more conservative, and she's like, hang on, sorry. The Quran explicitly says women need to cover their chests. These women are not covering their chests. This is un-Islamic. Take it down, Creative Assembly. I imagine that was it. It was at Ilhan Omar's behest. She was like, no, my Lord and Saviour Ilhan would certainly not want that. Or was it annoying feminists? Did Arch accurately pinpoint the problem? The lead community of Team Grace has had her fifis hurt, said Arch. Oh God, oh Jesus, no, the humanity. How could this have happened? He said sarcastically, before suggesting towards the end of the video that Creative Assembly is run by, quote, cuck beta leftists. Oof. Did you resemble that remark, Wheels? Is that the complaint? Arch Warhammer is a dickhead because he made me realise that I'm unmanly. Were you offended? Did he manage to hurt some more fifis just out of interest? I mean, maybe, just maybe, if you weren't succumbing to the SJW virus, then this wouldn't be such a problem. Don't know why you are. What do you owe these people? Why do they have a hold over you? I mean, Creative Assembly is a successful company. Without being a feminist company, you can just ignore these people. It doesn't matter how many hit pieces about how sexist your games are that they write, because none of the people who read those pieces buy your games. And none of the people who buy your games read those pieces. Who cares? But what do I know? So there's no public information available that suggests that the community moderator mentioned in this video had anything to do with the recent sex mod being removed from Steam. Well, he didn't say it was. He just said Arch Warhammer's a dickhead. I wonder why. Neither Arch Warhammer nor Creative Assembly immediately responded to Kotaku's quest for comment about the situation. You'll notice the term immediately there, right? Because what that means is, oh God, we're going to get the story out as quickly as possible. They'll send an email and then they'll just publish the article because like that you didn't get back to them. They'll say, well, they didn't immediately do it. Okay, but nobody would reasonably expect them to immediately do it. I mean, they're busy people with busy lives. You might have to wait an hour or so, but you're on a timer, you're on a deadline. You can't do that. You can just say, well, they didn't immediately get back, as if that's legitimate. But anyway, I digress. Today, the studio put out a statement apologising for Whelan's comment. Earlier this week, a statement was made by a member of our team on a live stream that was not up to our personal or professional standards. Mr. Whelan, that was very unprofessional of you. It also didn't reflect the views of the studio. We apologise for any hurt or harm caused. Now, who could they be apologising to other than Arch Warhammer, the victim of Michael Whelan's attack? Unfounded, unprovoked, totally unjustified, personal character attack. It's disgusting, Michael. How could you? Arch did give them a response, though. A CA community manager called me a naughty word. I found this to be hilarious and made a video laughing about the whole thing, but clearly a lot of people found the comment to be a bit too much on an official CA stream, Arch told Kotaku in an email. This has now resulted in CA making an official apology, what I didn't ask for, but what I am happy to receive. Now, in Creative Assembly's defense, that's the right thing to do. On the other hand, why are you in a position where you have to do this? Why does your community manager have a personal problem with a YouTuber? What has Arch done other than say things to which you obviously don't agree? That's not a crime. That doesn't make someone a bad person. And why don't you engage with him? Like, maybe you could have a conversation with him and explain what he obviously doesn't understand from your perspective, and he can explain what you obviously don't understand from his perspective, and instead of treating him like an enemy at the gates, just treat him like a visitor who's come to see you and has some opinions. It wouldn't hurt you just to listen and say, okay, well, thanks for that. That was interesting. Or is it that Arch Warhammer doesn't like feminism, and in fact, you are beta leftist cucks?